Hey guys, let's draft back basic bodice block with darts and front basic bodice block without darts. These basic blocks can be converted into yokes to make simple semi-fitted dresses. Here is the list of measurements needed to draft basic bodice blocks. Since this is a basic bodice block, the neckline sits closely around the neck. The ease used are listed here for your reference. Let's begin with drafting the back bodice block with darts. Start by squaring a line. This is the high point shoulder line or HPS line. Mark shoulders divided by 2 on this line. Square a line downward from this point. This new line is the armhole depth line. On this line, mark 3 by 4 inches. From the center back, mark back neck width divided by 2. Join these 2 points to make the shoulder line. On the armhole depth line, mark the appropriate measurement, which is bust divided by 6 or bicep divided by 2 or the mid value of these two formulas. Next step, fold the tape into half as shown here and mark a point. This is where we are going to measure the across back and mark across back divided by 2. Next, mark the bust circumference line parallel to the armhole depth line. The formula used here is bust plus 2 inches ease divided by 4. You can mark 2 points as shown here from the center back and join these two lines to draw a parallel line to the armhole depth line. Use the tip of the French curve to join the shoulder point with the across back point as shown here. Place the French curve aligning the armhole depth and the across back as shown here and use a measuring tape to measure if your armhole is measuring armhole plus 1 inches ease divided by 2. If not, you can slightly shift down or shift the armhole up to accommodate the armhole perfectly. Draw the armhole as shown here. Now mark HPS to waist plus quarter inches body raise from the HPS line. Use an L scale to square a line aligning this point with the center back. This is the waistline. On this waistline, mark waist circumference plus 3 to 4 inches ease plus 2 inches total dart allowance divided by 4. This 3 to 4 inches ease on the waistline depends on the fit that you want. Join the bust line with the waistline as shown here. Measure quarter inches upward on the new line and mark a point. Use a French curve to join this point with the waistline. Next step is to mark the dart points. Mark bust point to bust point divided by 2 on the waistline. And from the shoulders, mark the shoulders to bust point. Now against the bust point, make a small marking on the side seam. Now join this point with the waist point. The bust circumference must measure the fullest over the bust point. So check if the bust circumference measures bust circumference plus the ease that we added. Now mark half an inch on either side of the dart point that we already marked on the waistline and join these 2 points with the dart point to complete the darts. Next step is to draw the neckline. Measure 1 inches down on the center back as shown here and join the HPS point with this point using a French curve as shown here. Truing is a necessary step to complete the back pattern. Fold and pin the dart intake. Use an L scale to align the waistline to the center back. Only on truing, the waistline will look straight after the yoke is attached with the skirt part. The back basic bodice block is complete. Now let's draft the front basic bodice block without darts. Align the center front and center back together Let's trace all the important lines from the back pattern to the front side. Trace the HPS line, side line and the tip of the armhole. These become the foundation lines to draft the front bodice pattern. Check out the important lines and points that are traced from the back pattern to the front pattern. Let's start by drawing the HPS line to draft the front pattern. Square a line on the HPS line that is traced from the back to the front, aligning the L scale with the center front as shown here. On the HPS line, mark shoulders divided by 2. From this point, square a line downward, making this the armhole depth line. On this line, mark 7 by 8 inches that makes the shoulder slope. Next step is to mark the back neck width divided by 2 from the center front on the HPS line. Join these 2 points to make the shoulder line for the front side of the pattern. Next step is to mark the midpoint of the armhole depth line to mark the center front for the front pattern. Mark across front divided by 2. Place the tip of the armhole curve aligning with the across front point as shown here and draw part of the armhole as shown here. Align the armhole point that we traced from the back to the front. Place the French curve and measure using an inch tape and make sure that the armhole curve measures armhole circumference plus 1 inch is divided by 2. Next step is to draw the waistline. From the HPS line, measure HPS to waistline plus half an inches body raise and mark a point. Square a line from this point from the center front to the side seam line. Since the front length is slightly longer than the back, the side seams will not match immediately. So let's use a French curve and join this line with the side seam line as a smooth curve. Next step is to complete the neckline. So from HPS, mark 3.5 inches or 4 inches according to your measurement. Place the French curve joining the shoulder point with the neckline point and draw the neckline as shown here. With this, the back pattern and the front patterns are both complete. Another important point to note is that you can increase the front yoke length by another quarter inches if your bust circumference is 46 inches or more. It is necessary to add another quarter inches to the front length due to the extra body rise due to the bigger bust shape. With this, the front and back bodice blocks are ready. You are free to create new necklines with these patterns, and remember to adjust the shoulder to shoulder measurement, shoulder slope and bust ease depending on the combination of neckline that you choose to have for making your dress. The combination of necklines, shoulder adjustment and their supporting videos are given in the description box below. This is Anita Shanmugavel. Have a happy day, happy life and happy sewing to all of you.